Good evening, welcome to the Board of Health meeting for June 10th, 2024. I'm going to open the meeting with Agenda 1, citizens and business time. Actually, probably should start with the staff members. Okay, start with the staff. Steve Jeanette. No echo, okay. Sheila.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm Sheila Pearl.
Kim.
Hi, Kim Dias, present.
Okay. Michael Roach here. I don't see echo, right? He's not here.
He said anyway, so
You might not make it. Okay. I'm going to open the meeting with citizens in business time. Citizens or business owners may contact the Office of the Board of Health to request to address the Board of Health during citizen and business time. Not seeing anybody. We're going to go with hearings. Number 2, so Serenity Spa variance. Carrie.
So Melanie is here on behalf of Serenity to I guess listen to the board on the variance she had taken back in 2016 for an additional 2 chairs. And I think per what you said, you've never taken action on it. At this point, I think Matt would be a good person to maybe like run us through the variant process and what's involved. Matt, if you don't mind.
Nope, not at all. Matt Waterman, Land Tech Consultants, for the record, consultant to the Board of Health. And I didn't have a lot of paperwork back from 2016, so I think it kind of came up quickly at that time for the meeting. Now, that's just kind of background information that's not relevant. But the variance was in 2016 to add 2 wash sinks. And then, according to the owner, and I apologize, I forgot your name, but the chairs were installed, but they were never connected to the tight tank. And so a lot of the focus was on the tight tank back when the board made a decision in 2016. And then when the Title V was done, I believe, I assume the property was sold. The board received the Title V report, and then we kind of issued comments on the Title V report specific to the to the tight tank. And then I've kind of thought about it and gone through it with Carrie a couple of times since I issued my letter on Friday, where I think there's kind of 2 things going on simultaneously here. The salon spa kind of got caught up in it. I don't think they're necessarily responsible for the tight tank as much as the property owners are. And then so there's like, well, what about the variance from 2016? How does that affect how this board is either going to act on it or not act on it? We didn't have any inspections of the work being completed, whether, and I was talking to Carrie today, and when I think of a salon chair and how you size your Title V system, I don't necessarily think of wash sinks. I think of like the beautician chair where you sit, the number of people that you're servicing in that. It's kind of like a house where, you design the house septic system on bedrooms, but you could have 20 bathrooms if you want. Title V doesn't care how many bathrooms you have. They pick a way to try and categorize the volume of water that is being used in a facility. And in this case, they were expanding their chairs for additional wash sinks. And at the time, that was specific to the holding tank, because that's a different kind of, holding tanks are unique, and we try to minimize the flows to them, and those are their own kind of issue. But now that they haven't been installed, I don't have an issue with the wash sinks. And I would recommend that the board kind of do 2 things. Reissue a letter to the property owners and not necessarily the salon, that they have to connect their tight tank. That's required regardless. Like, that's part of the groundwater discharge regulations, not Title V. but they all, so, but I think we do make a decision, I recommend the board make a decision that you just kind of close out that variance and say that it is expired, or, it is no longer valid, it wasn't acted on in a timely fashion, and that, just to close it out, just to kind of, I think it's a good idea to close it out. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but I think it's a good idea. And separate that kind of, the number of chairs that are being put in there versus, I think it would be a good idea, and Carrie brought up a good point, that we make sure that whatever is being done in the 3 chairs, I think the 1 chair that's dedicated to the holding tank needs to be where you do your perms, your dyes, your washouts, that type of stuff. And I know nothing about hairdressing, so don't listen to what I'm saying. But shampooing and those types of things, kind of the more traditional use of the sinks would be the 2 sinks that are connected to the holding tank, and the 1 sink really needs to be the one that's dedicated, because we don't want those chemicals going into the septic system and going into the ground, which is why they are dedicated. So I think it's important that we brought in the owner just to kind of reiterate that. This has been kind of a unique one, and where it went in, but then it didn't go in, and it's just, I think it was important to kind of reiterate that to the salon owner, but then also close out that variance, and then move forward with the property owner, if that makes sense.
Matt, are you saying only 1 sink goes to the tight tank?
I believe so, and I would defer to the salon owner. I think they added the chairs, but they never did the plumbing to connect it, so that the other sinks connect to the conventional plumbing. That's my understanding, at least.
So maybe at this point, you guys can explain like, how many sinks you have and,
Sure.
what's connected.
I was involved in the construction of this, so I think it's best if I explain. We
Okay.
got that variance thinking that
Sorry,
Could you
yeah.
introduce yourself?
Yeah.
What's that?
Could you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, Joel Morton.
Joel. Okay.
Yes, Melanie's husband,
Okay.
also the contractor on the job.
Okay.
So we came probably a year before we did any renovations, before we even signed a lease, thinking that we needed permission to stay connected to that tight tank, thinking that tight tank was based on flow. We found out later from a mechanical engineer when he was doing the drawings, the total number of hair chairs is based on flow, which is based on hair stations. Matt was correct in that. But per Mass Department of Environmental Protection, only 1 chair has to be connected to the tight tank, which is what we already had connected, so we never connected any more to the tight tank. So that current chair is what we use for color, perms, everything else, shampoos, goes in the other chairs, which goes into the regular septic disposal system, to the regular septic system. The Department of Environmental Protection doesn't attach any flow to their qualifications of only connecting 1 chair. So therefore, we never acted on the variance, and we never went forward with it. I do also have the mechanical drawings that were permitted and signed off on, showing that only 1 chair is connected.
Okay, so Matt, quick question, what is the 314 CMR 18-05?
That's the groundwater discharge standards, which is kind of where the regulations that we use when we're permitting a holding tank. There's requirements for the installation, proper signage, you have to have a little spill kit, there's a handful of things that go along with that. So anytime we've permitted a holding tank in town, whether most of them typically are either nail salons or hair salons, we have always utilized that regulation, because Title V doesn't really get into holding tanks for a non-hazardous industrial wastewater. which is what these flows are. So it's something that this board regulate. It's just not the Title V holding tanks that I think most people are kind of familiar with or heard of, you know, where you're usually down by the lakes and you don't have enough room to put in a septic system. Yeah, you put in a Title V holding tank. This is not that. This is an industrial wastewater holding tank, and it's subject to those regulations.
And Matt, how long does a holding tank actually, like, what is their length of work?
I think it's like a septic tank. I think if it's a newer style tank, which, this building is newer. Everything's new to me. It's been there, it's relatively, 10, 15 years old. I think this board could certainly give the owners time to make that transition. I know that at least it appears that they have been reluctant to connect to the sewer. I can't speak for that, but I don't think it's a public health threat that has to be done immediately, but I think it's part of the regulations and it's required. The state doesn't like these holding tanks. They get forgotten. They're obviously dumping chemicals into the ground, and so it's just a way of minimizing holding tanks in the state. So it's more of just regulation on state level regulation.
So the state would request, as soon as there was the ability to tie into town storage, that somebody with a tight tank would be somewhat expected to do that?
Correct. Yeah, that's right in the regulations that as soon as sewer is available, you're expected to tie in, yes. But I don't think that's the salon's issue. I think that's the property owners, and before we were kind of blurring the lines, at least I was myself, like in trying to make recommendations, and when we were talking about the variance back in 16, I think we were kind of hyper focused on the salon, not right or wrong, it just was how it played out. But now that I think, thinking it through a little bit, I think we can separate those two.
Okay, so if I understand, in 2016, the variance was to ask for 2 more additional chairs to tie into the existing tank?
Yes,
Yeah, okay. And then you didn't
we didn't.
do it?
Didn't do it.
So you don't need the variance because you haven't done it, don't need it?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so that's the one issue that he was talking about, just trying to remove,
Yeah.
something he's not active, might as well not have it open. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the tight tank thing is a property management issue.
Yeah. So I think, for Matt's recommendation, the board should take, a determination on, making the variance, void and no longer, valid. And then the second issue is because it is on a tight tank,
Yeah.
sewer is available, and therefore the building should be connected to, sewer, and that may falls under the owner of the building instead of,
There-
the business.
There are exemptions to that law though, isn't there? As far as having to tie into the town septic?
Matt, is there an exemption?
I don't know, we would kind of have to work with the sewer department, and I know we've done it on a couple of properties. I think we would have to rehash that out with the homeowners, and like I said, I don't think it's an immediate public health threat, but we shouldn't put it off. I think it's our obligation to make sure that there is, and we've.
I guess what you're saying is that we can give, I guess a timeline that said, maybe it has to be connected within a year or two, so
Right.
that they can prepare, I guess, for the connection. But that, so since there's no immediate health threat, we don't have to issue an emergency where like you have to connect within 30 days or 60 days. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yep, that's perfect. That is perfectly stated.
And you're talking about the
But was
building
there
owner, right? Not
documentation
me?
at one point that a
Building
pump
owner.
wasn't working?
I'm sorry?
They did fix that. There was a Title V at the time. At the same time, there was 2 Title V reports done for the property, one for the tight tank, one for the septic. And there was some pump issues. The property owners at the time did address that, submitted all the receipts to fix the pump and all of that. I
Okay.
did come across that when I was going through this.
Well, I think in regards to a timeline, we should be careful in being as equal as possible with other businesses that are on that road that we have requested to tie into SOAR, since it is available. I just think our timeline should be very similar to what we have requested from other businesses.
I agree, and I don't remember what that is, Carrie, unless you do, but I would think a year would be a good starting point.
I think so, that's what we had given for one of the, property on Middlesex Road.
Property owners. You look like, yeah, that's like.
I think you should have relief.
Yeah. Do they still have to pump as needed, the tight tanks and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, so you still
we
gotta
haven't
do
done
that
that.
anyway.
Yeah. There's a light that comes on when you're about 3/4 capacity,
An alarm.
an alarm, it's annoying,
Mm.
and then we have it pumped, so.
That's how I knew they were doing the Title V, because they kept setting my alarm off.
But that would go away in the pumping records and the cost for pumping if it's going right into the.
It would go, it's gonna be a significant cost, given the location of that septic system versus distance to the road and ledge. I don't imagine it's gonna be, done without a fight.
It's fine.
It's just tough on the citizens of the town that are covering the cost right now.
I understand. I'm not,
No,
I would love to be hooked up, it was
I would
taken
love
away
it,
from
bring it
us.
down to our house.
Those business owners, if it
Yeah,
was
it's
already
not-
there, they're like, oh, great, this is easy. I
Right.
still remember
And if I own the property, I'd be connecting in a heartbeat, like,
Right.
it just increases your value, like, but I don't own the building, so.
Well, maybe you can say, hey,
Right.
let's get some connection going here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they don't care about me.
Anybody have any other questions? I don't. No? Okay. Anybody wanna make any motions? Wanna take a stab at it?
I'll do it.
Go for it, Steve.
Either you do it.
This was before my time, so I'll acquiesce.
Let's do the simple
All right.
one first, with the variance.
Yeah, we'll separate them out, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
I make a motion that we take the 2016 variance and consider it null and void at this point due to the time factor as well as the owners not hooking up the additional chairs to the tight tank.
Second.
Okay, motion on the floor, we'll take any discussion, any comments, questions, clarification? None, okay, I'll take a vote. Sheila,
In favor?
Steve,
In favor.
Kim?
In favor.
Okay, and I, Mike Roach, in favor of removing the variance that motion passes.
So Matt, for clarification, the tight tank is based off, the Mass DEP industrial waste holding tank regulation that said you have to connect to sewer when it's available. Is that correct?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, correct.
So that holding tank is Mass DEP regulated.
Yeah, it's the conditions of the holding tank,
Okay.
and it's Mass DEP regulation.
This tank's independent, isolated from the septic system.
Correct.
Obviously. So now
It is, yes.
he's gonna have to plumb the building or facility and this tank into the town sewer.
If, I think if it's plumbed to town sewer, the tank, they wouldn't need the tank anymore because sewer allows all those chemicals go
That's where-
into sewer.
Is where it goes anyway, just by truck now, it goes to the, the waste treatment
Low
plant.
waste, yeah.
Paying for a transport.
Exactly.
So whatever's tied into the tank now would have to be replumbed into the building main.
Exactly, and if they're doing that, there's really no reason not to hook up the rest of the septic system because they're close to one another, so the trench would already be done, the expensive part would be there, I would think that they would wanna hook up both systems at that point, but
So when did they buy the property, the new owner?
I have no idea.
the
They sent
current
you a
owner,
new lease, right?
the owner that we've had since, for years, is still listed as the owner, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure why the Title V, maybe the sale hasn't gone through yet.
I think
We
they
haven't
do
been
it a lot too because they're always like borrowing money against other buildings, so.
I think according to, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, according to, Title V, because it's considered as a condo, I think before it's just like a whole plaza under one owner. Now it's, I think they're condos now, so.
Correct.
So if anybody sells or,
They have to do it every 3 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
really?
They
Yep,
did
correct.
condoize
And
it.
I just assumed that it had sold, so that could be bad.
Yeah.
If it was condominiumized recently, then that would apply, or that would be a reason why they were doing the Title V as well.
Yeah.
All but one of the units is owned by the original owner, well, not the original owner, the
Waterstone.
second owner of the building is, owned by Waterstone Properties, so they condoed the building, but they only sold where Anytime
Yeah.
Fitness is. And all the other units are still held by Waterstone Properties.
Matt, I'm sorry, just for my education, so any condominium complex has to have a Title V done every 3 years?
Yep, it's required with Title V. And I think it's just a way, because we're condominiums, it minimizes doing it every time you sell. In theory, I think it's supposed to help. Now, if you only have 4 or 5
That makes
units,
sense.
it's not gonna be effective, but if you have 45 units, and you're doing your Title V every 3 years, most likely you're gonna have more than one sale every 3 years, I would think.
Interesting.
So the idea is to try and this is just me guessing, but it was just a way to address
Makes
Title
sense.
V's with condominiums.
Do we have any more votes today?
I guess not if you guys want me to issue an order for the building owner to connect to sewer. So maybe at this point you do have to make, a vote because you wanna give them so many days. Usually when I issue a notice, it's within a short time period. So if you wanna give him like a year, maybe put that into a vote.
I mean, that really doesn't have anything to
Not
do with
anymore.
Not yet.
Not yet, until the owners
You can just say
come
you
to
were
the-
present for the vote, I guess. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, this corridor, this Middlesex Road is, other businesses have had, or property owners have had the same type of things, do they wanna connect or not, but the votes were taken. And we've given people a year or so to connect after. It wasn't fully installed when, 2018?
The sewer, I believe it was, available in 2018. And that's a problem with tight tanks, and when we give permissions, it's really hard to, I think, keep track of all the tight tanks
Yeah.
in the, community, in the town. And most beauty salons do have a tight tank if they're on septic.
Yeah.
Well, what if we did 6 months instead of a year and had them come, cause you lose all of the winter anyways, when you go and give a year, you're lost 3 months plus depending on, although we don't have normal average winters anymore in New England. Instead of putting the tight tank issue off for a whole year,
I don't think they'll let them open the street during the winter period, right? Unless it's an emergency. So I mean, we're in the
no,
next.
normally, sometimes it's as early as November 15th.
So I mean, realistically, you're into next year anyways.
Yeah.
That part is true, yeah.
I mean, you have the rest of this year, so 3 months, like 9 months if you do something. If you do 1 year from today, type thing.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna change anyways. Said something.
This is the date on the book.
Do we have an updated Title V on it, the condo? Cause I thought that was 2016 when the pumps were,
No, I think the Title V was done in 2021. So 22, 23.
Well, there's something here that says.
so it's new for a new one.
Yeah. What
It
does it say?
says February 21st, 2023
Yeah.
for the above address, but I don't know if that's
Okay.
just,
It wasn't that long ago.
yeah, it was,
It was just recently.
Yeah,
and that.
So the Title V was recent?
Yes.
yes,
Yep, okay.
that's what
Less
brought
than
up
2
all
years,
this,
yeah.
That was this year.
Could have been, winter time-ish.
But the Title V report said that the tight tank needs to be connected.
To,
Just when it's available,
yeah,
but that's from Title V, that wasn't so much from us or our variances, it's just that's what the Title V report said.
it was also, given during the variance, but I guess at this point, it's, the holding tank regulation.
Which was that 314 CMR 1805, which was saying,
Yeah,
and they actually had the definition, I read it earlier, about feasible. It had like this, right? I don't know what we have, but it would say like within 250 feet of,
yeah, it's right in front of their property, except they're like on a ledge up top, so I think it to, come down to it. You know the property
I know
better
the
than I do.
property. Gotta be a good distance to the manhole cover.
That's it.
more than 2 football fields.
it's your turn to make a variance.
Do we have, just use the address as the reference point, or is there an owner name, or?
I think you can use the address.
Why is it my turn? Why can't Kim do it?
He's gone.
She's gone. Oh, all right. I'll make a motion that the property located at 315 Middlesex Road, Tyngsborough, Mass. Has 1 year from today to tie into the town sewer.
I think Sheila said 6 months.
Oh,
Well,
Well, that was just a suggestion,
Suggestion.
but
Okay.
then Sheila's making the
Suggested.
motion.
She suggested.
Take it over, Ruby.
no,
well, I
don't-
didn't have the number
I'm
for
teasing.
for the DEP. I didn't write it down. I thought it did.
Pursuant to, what's the title, do we the bylaw, whatever?
yes, 314.
Pursuant to, 314 CMR 18-05. Is that sufficient?
Prohibit any holding tank units feasible for discharge to a sewer.
Prohibit any
I
holding
second
tank.
that.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been seconded, any discussion, so we've got it, motion on the floor for 315 Middlesex Road, 1 year from today to connect to sewer, given the tight tank regulations, or holding tank regulations. Okay.
I mean, I can strike that, I mean, I just don't think it's not gonna happen in 6 months, I don't think.
No, like, that just allows the, I think,
Engineering.
engineering, the property owner to come back and do their quotes and figure out what it's gonna cost and all their stuff that they gotta do, but if they have any questions, we're here on Mondays. They can ask me before. All right, so, any other discussions? No. I don't, do we have to repeat it for Kim, cause she was off?
If she's gonna
seconded.
work.
Didn't
What?
she second it?
No, she.
No,
okay.
Sheila, I thought.
Kim, did you hear the, motion that was made on the floor by Steve? Can't hear you, you're on mute.
Kim, you muted.
I heard part of it, my laptop died, I just plugged it back in, thank you.
Okay, so I think Steve made a motion to require the owner to connect to sewer within 1 year, as per the tight tank regulation, which is 314 CMR 18.05. And I think Sheila second.
And now we're on to the discussion and questions, if you have any questions.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought I heard Sheila mention too, maybe 6 months.
Yeah, so the discussion was around, like, 6 months was her recommendation, but then there's also the winter that could be coming up, and
Right.
that owner then loses all that kind of time to open up the road and asphalt and whatever needs to be done. So if we
Makes
did
sense.
1 year, it's keeping consistent with our prior variances, I guess, would be the word, or length of time that we've given other property owners. Time to grab quotes and all that other fun stuff, but, knowing full well that it's probably taken 3 months right off of that, so more like a 9-month window.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I would second that motion.
Oh. I get it seconded already. All right, I'm gonna take a vote. Steve?
Favor.
Okay, Sheila?
In favor.
Kim?
In favor.
Okay, and I'm Mike Roach in favor. All right, so that's
Passes.
passes as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
So,
Do you want the job?
No.
God, no.
Run away.
so I just want to reiterate, I think even for, the meeting minutes, that, you only have one chair that's tied to the, tight tanks. and that is used mainly for, I guess your hair color or hair treatment. And the other sink is pretty much to the septic system, and that's for the shampoo and all of it.
Correct.
Correct.
Am I correct? Okay, all right.
Correct, and actually, I'll leave this with you as a copy of the DPW's, the Department of Environmental Protection's ruling on, well, how they classify air chairs and how they have to be connected, so.
Okay, all right, thank
just-
you.
Just an FYI, that's all.
All right, we'll add these to, our meeting minutes.
Everything
Awesome.
has a specialty thing attached to it, so, well, you know.
And sometimes you
You know.
call them and they still don't pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Have
very
a good
much.
night.
You too.
Night.
I hope you get out here early.
Yeah, fine.
So maybe we can go back to the first agenda item,
First agenda item.
which is, supposed to have a hearing on, because it's already on the agenda, it's already been posted, for the body art regulation. So the person that's supposed to come before us tonight, her work was not as far along as she thought it was, so, we can, I guess, postpone it till next month when she's, closer to finish what she has to, do before we can license her.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions for Matt? Cause I know he has another meeting to jump to.
No, I think we're good, Matt.
All right, thank you, have a good night.
Take care, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Good
Yep,
night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mac. Night.
Okay. Hearings are done. Board reorganization. Anybody want chair or vice chair?
Well, I got more votes than you did, so.
Yeah. I think you did actually. I saw that, I was like, ooh, they don't like me.
You got more votes?
He did, he knows more people.
Yeah.
4 people?
Knows four more people.
He said more people. Hey, Sheila. That's 3 more than I wanna know.
I voted, you guys.
This is always an awkward part.
Yeah, anybody wanna make a motion for somebody to be chair?
I make a motion that Michael, I was gonna say Michael J. Fox, that Michael Ryan Roach, be the chair.
I'll second that.
Okay. So that's a motion on the floor, okay. I'll accept the nomination then. We'll do a vote. Kim?
In favor.
Okay. Sheila?
In favor.
Steve?
Favor. I just wanna go on the record as.
Is questioning?
Yeah.
I'm in favor.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion, can I make a motion?
You can make a motion, I
Sure.
guess, yeah.
I'll make a motion for Sheila to be the vice chair.
I second that.
Okay, Kim seconds. Any discussion, acceptance? Do you accept, Sheila?
Yep, I accept.
Okay. Alright, we'll take a vote, Steve,
In favor.
Kim?
In favor.
I'm in favor. Sheila?
Can I vote for myself? I guess
Sure.
I'm in favor.
Sure.
Michael did, why can't you?
I did.
I don't know, it doesn't feel
Remember, I
like
still
it.
lost
Okay.
votes to Steve. Vote for 2 and they leave me off. Alright. Director's notes.
That's going on. You guys ready?
Yeah.
We have the Household Hazardous Waste Day that's coming up on September 7th. It's gonna be from 9 to 1. As always, we need volunteers, so let us know as soon as possible.
It's gonna be at the DPW?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a visual, that's
what?
a visual for, for those who are lost to opioid. And that's gonna be on September 14th. It's gonna be at Old Town Hall, and this is in collaboration with the police, the fire, the administration. So it'll be our first visual. So we'll work into we're looking for anyone who wants their loved ones that has passed away to be recognized to contact our office. And we were thinking maybe we'll do a name reading in remembrance of those people. So if anybody who, wants the name read, or if there's any other activities that we may have later on that involve in the remembrance, we would like to hear from anyone, and it doesn't have to be from Tyngsborough. It can be like, anyone that you know of. So that's September 14th. It's gonna be, we said it's gonna be around 6 o'clock in the evening. So that's that. And then the third thing is we have just set up a health and safety fair, and that's a week later, September the 21st. And that's from 11 to 2.
11 to 2.
Yeah. So we're gonna reach out to all the vendors that we had prior. The police are going to have bike rodeos, and the fire department gonna reach out to their vendors and their people. So it's gonna be between the 3 departments again.
At the elementary school?
Yeah, at the elementary school.
Can we get the helicopter to come again?
They will reach out to them.
State trooper?
Yeah, and it's not always a guarantee. They said if there's an emergency,
Oh, yeah.
then the emergency take precedence. But I know it was a big draw the last time with the helicopter. Yeah. So they're gonna try to get them out here again. Again, keep those dates in mind. We need volunteers for those dates as well.
All 3?
Not so much for the visual, but if you, I think, can show up as that would be nice.
I think they're gonna ask the CERT team to be a part of that as well. The health and safety fair too.
Yeah.
And volunteering.
Yeah, it'd be good if we can get them to have, again, this time, and not with just, especially with, I think the school gonna set up the tables, so we can have set up the tables, but there's a lot of other things, I think the CERT team can help us with, especially, I think, breaking up at the end of it, cause, that's, quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it was like our first event that we've ever done, and we didn't really know what to do. We didn't have like any flyers for people. We didn't have like any business cards. We didn't have anything. So we were just like, all right, this was.
But you guys had a table.
We had a table, but like
Mhm.
it was like people are asking questions. We didn't have papers for people to write on or what it's
Yeah.
about and stuff. So I
Yeah.
think maybe one person manning a table with it, and then the rest of the team to help out. It's gonna be more of that, and we'll probably see the same at the block party. You'll see more people out helping and relieving
Yeah,
people, just walking amongst the crowd.
yeah, that would be good.
So there'll be more volunteers.
But the most important one is the household hazardous waste day. that takes a lot of work,
Tired.
so, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep,
Anything else? That's it? Yep.
sweet. Alright,
And then maybe for the next meeting, do you guys want me to bring back the well regulation? Because we only, if you're gonna have it, we are only going to have, the body art regulation. I don't think there's, unless, something else come up.
the well regulations, again, the ones that we were reading through, the private one.
The private well regulation. Want to continue working on it, or?
You can continue working on it. Okay,
Yes.
we'll just continue working on it.
Okay.
Matt would have to be there, right?
Matt, want it?
Yeah, cause did we read it all the way through?
I don't think we got all the way through.
I think we stopped at a certain page.
Yeah.
We even made it all the way through, but need to go back to 3 different areas that we skipped.
Okay.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
She wrote the minutes. But she knows.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe once it's through, if you want me to bring the experts from Mass DEP, so that if you have any technical questions for him, he's available to answer them.
The ones that wrote the regulations.
He didn't write it, but he is from the organization
that
that,
wrote it,
yeah.
Yeah, we might have to get
I
clarification.
think we have to look at the body art again and take out the sink and the autoclave.
Mm. Okay.
Like make like an amendment or just make edits and then
Yeah, I think those
rewrite?
are the only 2 areas. I mean, we could take a look at it and make sure we're okay with everything, which we should be, because it's agonizing for years. But I do agree, the other facility doesn't have a dedicated sink for the mop. So maybe it really doesn't necessarily need to have the sinks for that, and then the autoclave, it is all disposable, but maybe write it up that should
Yeah, like,
the artist choose not to use the disposable equipment, then an autoclave is a must.
yeah, just reverse it, like the same thing with the cleaning sink, like if you're using disposable stuff, then you don't need the sink.
Yeah, it's precedent set essentially.
Yeah.
That,
But,
I have a question
yep,
regarding the body art and, the one-time use versus using an autoclave. So I'm assuming as a business, when they receive a shipment in with all of the, packages to do the body art, they must have all serial numbers that they must log in when they receive the orders. And then when they use a particular package on a person, they must have to write down that serial number that was used on the person at the time, so that they, as like a safeguard, that they are using fresh, sterilized equipment in versus using the autoclave. How does that work? When I
yeah,
read it, those were the questions that came to my mind. Because to save money, people might try to, reuse equipment and just sterilize it in a way that they think is okay.
yeah, I think always having like maybe even a little committee that will actually review it, if we're really gonna probably only have 2 owners in town of tattoo shops, and they both seem pretty reasonable. Is what, I may be overstepping, but like, what would they remove out of there as well? Like, we don't do this anymore, I don't know why it's in there, you may wanna just take that page out, or that section out too. Maybe just interesting hearing from them, from their perspective. 'Cause we don't do this, but we're using Massachusetts regulations and that we adopted for our town. And a lot of stuff that are in there was from when That was the only thing they had. They didn't have, what's it, the disposable
We
mops
could
that they
maybe
used to.
put on their yearly application, a check off if they will use single-use equipment. That way we're at least covered by them saying it,
Yeah, cause
and
even,
not have the autoclave.
even
Is
with
that
autoclave,
on
just,
them if by chance they don't choose to use it any longer, or they reuse single dose, but I'm sure that it's cheaper to buy a single dose by the carton versus just a couple. So it doesn't make sense that anybody would not be using all of them.
Well, everybody's trying to save money now, especially with businesses and whatnot. And a lot of businesses, we hear all the time how they're trying to cut corners because things are so expensive and they're trying to make more money. So my question would be, what's the safeguard in place that would prevent them from actually reusing the equipment for bodyguard, and, you know, and it's only meant for a one-time use? I mean, I don't know anything about that, but those are the questions that came to my mind when I was reading it. You know, what's the safeguard in place to make sure that it's done correctly?
well, there was no safeguard in place to ensure that they used the autoclave. They had one,
Right, exactly, Steve, you're right.
so.
That is.
So we just have to trust them. Because it's on them. Should
Of course.
somebody get hep C from their tattoo that they just got,
Right,
well, regardless, it's gonna go back to wherever that establishment was, as being our high probability that they got hep C from that particular
Yeah, we just have to
establishment.
make sure that the regulations meet what the intention was, like, you're supposed to have an autoclave, if you don't, then you have disposable, those are your options. And then,
Yeah, I just think the language should say that.
yeah,
I agree.
So the National Environmental Health Association had been working on a body art regulation as well. So if you guys ever have time, go to their websites and just maybe review what they worked on nationally, where I think they actually had a committee and they probably have seen a lot more stuff regarding body art and tattooing, stuff like that, and just see how they address some of those issues. And maybe we can take those wordings and just kinda like, okay, we'll put it in our regulation.
Can you send that information out to our email addresses?
that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, cause I think I remember when we were looking at the regulations, we looked at like New Jersey and see what they did and what they called,
Yeah.
microblading, and why some states removed it and others kept it in, so it was, had to do a little research, but this is the main thing that I've been saying, is if they had a association nationwide that said, you know what, we're going to regulate ourselves and make sure that people that are registered tattoo artists would follow these standards. It's
The
usually,
biggest advocate for those standards is the person getting the ink.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and they're the ones that are,
and
making
some
sure you
people
get-
take a lot of, a major pride in like the work that they do, and
Yeah,
they wanna
absolutely.
live to those standards, and
Absolutely.
that's why it's like, alright, nominate somebody, start an organization, say, this is what we're gonna consider top notch.
yeah, it's the back alley tattoo guy you go work.
Yeah, exactly, to remove those people, so they're not accredited, they did the same thing for cars, like, proper mechanics working on cars and all this other stuff, I was like, just take it into your own hands, it shouldn't be the local boards of health.
Mhm.
By nowadays, it's years later that tattoos have been okay. Should we move on to meeting minutes? Okay, April 8th, is everybody here or?
Not I.
Not you, did you watch it?
I
Sheila, did you watch it?
I did not watch it, I'm sorry.
So, no, that's fine, we might have to table this because we don't have enough. So, motion to table the meeting minutes for April 8th.
I second that.
Okay, Steve,
In favor?
Sheila,
In favor.
Kim,
In favor.
and I'm in favor.
Personally, I think the minutes are well written, I think it really did reflect what happened, so I mean, it's not the end of the world that we're not getting them out, cause I
Yeah.
don't think there's any issues with those minutes, but we do need to review it if we weren't physically here.
Right. Okay,
How long was the meeting, do we know? The turns this says, right? I'll watch the meeting,
7:15 to 6 to 7:15.
I'll watch the video.
I think the last one was pretty quick.
And the last one was May 13th, that was 6:48, yeah, we were less than 45 minutes. Alright, so the May 13th, we had me, Sheila, Steve.
Oh.
So Kim wasn't present and Echo's not present today. Okay, so we have enough to.
So I did read these. The only issue, and it's really not a major issue, but it's just the hearing for the body art variance request. It's just the way it was written, and you guys may look at it a little bit differently than I am. But it was my motion, and I might have said it this way too, so I don't know. But apparently I make the motion to approve the need of an
No.
autoclave.
I don't think you said that, yeah.
So that looks like we want it, but then it goes on, as long as disposal equipment is used, there'll be no need for an autoclave.
Yeah, it's contradictory.
So maybe I was saying something like, I make a motion to approve not to require an autoclave as long as disposable equipment is available. And like I said, I very well could have said it this way, but it doesn't make sense.
It's contradictory.
And it also doesn't make sense with the sink either. I think the motion should be that I approve that a mop sink is not required as long as, there's some alternative format for sanitizing the floors.
Yeah, I think that whole has to be.
I think if you just go above, that was the discussion in the variance request by that individual. But I might have said it that way, but if I have the opportunity, I would like to change that to say that I make a motion to approve not to require an autoclave. And not to require a mop sink. And I think the other parts make sense.
That's the way I understood it.
Is that okay with everyone?
That's the way I understood it. Kim, you ready for a motion?
Sure, I make a motion to amend, the meeting for, the necessary changes that Sheila, outlined regarding the mop sink. For those changes to be made.
And the
In the,
single use.
in the autoclave.
And, yes, I'm sorry, thank you, in the autoclave, and the sink to use, yes, correct.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
Second, motion seconded, okay, discussion. Okay. Sheila,
In favor?
Steve,
In favor.
Kim,
In favor.
and I'm in favor as well. Okay. Any new business? Old business? How's Barbara?
Don't know.
Okay.
No news is good news, is that?
I'll second that.
Good. Alright, we can adjourn.
No, that is good news.
Alright. Thank you, ladies.
Make a motion to adjourn. Next meeting, it will be July 8th. That we guys have. Should we, should we switch that weekend?
Probably,
It's like right after 4th of July.
yes.
Anybody wanna motion to move it before we adjourn?
Where do we move it to?
I don't know. What do you guys
15?
think? Are you guys away?
Florida?
In July? No thanks.
Yeah, I think we should
That's,
move it.
Yeah, that's like, a lot of people are gonna be taking the 5th off. I know I'm letting them the 6th, 7th, 8th, yeah. When's the next CERT meeting,
It will be,
is it the third Mondays?
Wednesday, the 19th.
Are we doing Wednesdays? Okay.
It's the third Wednesday of every month, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was the third Monday.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I'm sorry, it's the third Monday of every month. Because he knows that we have the Board of Health on, Monday nights, the second Monday.
Okay. And that's at 7 or 6:30?
It's been at 7.
You wanna do the 15th?
So just make it for the 22nd,
Okay.
because you guys have a meeting on the 15th, is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes, yep, correct.
I have nothing on the 22nd.
Yep.
You good?
As of now, I am.
You guys good? 22?
Third is third Monday.
Oh, wait, I'm not gonna be here.
Third Monday, yeah,
I'm not gonna be here the
of
22nd.
every month.
But you guys can
And
probably
if
run it
she's not,
without me.
and if she's not ready to come forward with everything, her permits, then maybe we don't have to meet.
Yeah, I'm gonna put 22 on the books. I'm gonna go on vacation.
We're golfing the 23rd.
Huh?
We're golfing the 23rd.
Yeah, I'll be back. And then head back north.
Day trip.
Oh, wait, I actually might be able to make the 22nd. I would have to stop.
One,
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
let's do
Yeah.
22.
22nd.
Yeah, I could be here, I could not be here.
It's the 22nd?
What happens if we don't have one?
What is it?
What happens if we don't have one?
I think what we've done before in the summer, right, Sheila, was if there's no pressing issues, like, or hearings that need to happen, then we would just move it. But
Yeah, we always took a month off.
Skip it, not move it.
Yeah, like, just,
Yeah.
we'll just skip it, so,
So depending on, the body art
Yeah.
lady, maybe we'll just have that on the agenda. And even if we have, that shouldn't take long, and then you guys, even if you wanna have it on the third, Monday, you can have a meeting here and then go to your certain.
yeah, we could do that too, so.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's
Either way
something like that.
works.
Both day, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything on the 15th or the 22nd, either works for me.
Yeah, cause I don't wanna hold her back, so that works, the 15th or the 22nd, depending on where she's at, but I want her to be all set.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll download
That
all
one.
the documents for you guys to review. We'll do that tomorrow, so,
Homework.
homework, call people up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has to be like.
Yeah, we do, I wanna check the references and everything else, just like we've done in the past.
Yeah. Okay,
Alright,
So
so the
let's-
15th,
15,
okay, sounds good.
if she's ready. If she's not, then we'll just take it
We'll
off.
skip it and go to the next one.
Okay. Yep.
And hopefully, even if there's any septic regulations, usually that's pretty quick, so we'll just keep it to, hearing, but it should be good.
Okay. Cool.
July already.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
No, something's not even here yet. It's almost over. Okay, so we need a motion to adjourn now.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, what's that evening? Monday, June 10th meeting at 7:16 PM.
Second.
Okay, second, Sheila?
Yep.
And Kim?
Oh, in favor, I'm sorry.
Kim? Steve?
In favor.
And I, Mike, in favor.